According to Merriam-Webster, the definition of all is every member or individual component of. On the Forsyth County School District fact sheet, it states that the vision is a safe, connected, and thriving community for all, that our beliefs are all students and staff must be connected and supported. All students and staff must have a strong sense of purpose. This comes from the strategic plan that I participated in. I remember these points, but this is not Forsyth County Schools. I have one request tonight, and that is for you to remove the word all. Forsyth County Schools leadership and board does not care about all students and staff. Just because it is in your statement does not make it so, even if you capitalize it in your emails. And Forsyth County Schools, if Forsyth County Schools really cared about all students and staff, then it would protect all and support everyone. But sadly, it does not. If you are Black in this community, your history is hidden. There is no respect for what your ancestors have gone through and how they have contributed to the American story. Instead, you are treated like your history is not American history. Your history is taken from classrooms, like books about Abraham Lincoln and George Washington Carver. You are denied the ability to take Black history courses. You can no longer access modules that teach about civil rights and Jim Crow. If you are a member of the LGBTQ+ community, you are not part of the all. This is demonstrated when a district apologizes for the use of the word gay. Being gay does not require an apology. You are not part of the all if books about you or your parents are being removed from libraries and classrooms. You sit and watch as hateful people call teachers groomers because they want all of their students to feel connected and supported. People are demonized as pedophiles because they are trying to live out the Forsyth County Schools beliefs. Staff members are being attacked by people pushing destructive agendas. Instead of this group supporting the staff for following the vision, mission, and beliefs, they are now self-censoring, afraid of being bullied by a loud minority in this community. Imagine being a member of a marginalized group as a staff member here. This body does not stand with the staff. Instead, you have some that want to tear down the great schools in this county by supporting vouchers. Please remove the word all. Doesn't apply to us.
This evening, I have some things to say about mistakes and apologies. When you allow the extremists who sued you for the opportunity to stand in this room and perform dramatic readings about blowjobs and masturbation, regardless of the presence of children, to create a hostile environment of such divisiveness and fear in our schools that you apologize for the use of the word gay to factually describe a human being, you have made a mistake. When you capitulate so completely to the extremists who slander our educators, calling them pedophiles and groomers, that you apologize for the use of the word gay to factually describe a human being, you have made a mistake. When you compare the use of the word gay to teaching kindergartners about the horrors of the Holocaust, you have made a mistake. When you say all students and all families are welcome and supported in our schools, yet apologize for the use of a word that describes some students and some families, you have made a mistake. I was raised, and I raised my children, to know that when you make a mistake, you acknowledge it. You apologize to those you have harmed with your words and your actions, and you strive to do better. This community deserves better. Do better.
In 1971, I was in the first grade. My print's this big because now you know how old I am. I remember a little girl being picked on ruthlessly, and it stuck with me, I guess, because it was my first exposure to seeing a person teased like that in person. She wore dresses and bows in her hair, but she looked uncomfortable, awkward, and something just didn't fit, and little kids picked up on that. Nearly 20 years later, in 1990, I started a new job in my hometown, and on the first day, I noticed a face that looked very familiar, and it's amazing how much that face hadn't changed that much, but that little girl was now wearing a flannel shirt, blue jeans, and a ball cap. He recognized me, too. We started reminiscing, and he told me he was pulled from public school in the 3rd grade by grandparents he loved very much, but he was placed in a private, unaccredited Christian school. You see, he could not change who he was. He wasn't indoctrinated from a book or in a classroom or by friends. He was born this way, and his journey had not been easy. Going back to 71, my first little friend, my best friend at school, was a little girl, and we would call each other on the phone. But one day her mother told me she couldn't talk to me anymore. It would be years before I would realize why her mother was protecting her. You see, my new friend was Black. Her mother had been in the same public school system just 10 years before, the segregated one. She didn't know me, she didn't know my parents, and she knew some white parents wouldn't approve of our friendship. Civil rights law changed things, but laws don't necessarily change minds. Today, over 50 years later, parent and political alliances have campaigned that LGBTQ equity and awareness is some kind of new indoctrination tactic to groom children in public schools. Some say teaching uncomfortable truths of modern history is too heavy or unnecessary. We've gone past that. From DEI, CRT to SEL, education jargon has been redefined to influence and activate upset. And the bullies are now the adults on the political playground with slander and rumor on social media being the bathroom wall. The opportunity for this district to be leaders in standards supporting inclusion and diluting overreaction is now even more challenged with new state laws providing opportunity to legally exclude. If age-appropriate classroom library books are being removed because a child might see an illustration of two mommies in a book about different kinds of families, or a storybook about challenges people of color have had, are no longer in the classroom because that's just a little too divisive. That's not a parental right. That's not a parental value. It's a 2023 example of appeasing discrimination and calling it policy.
So I learned that middle school teachers are limited to a list of around 20 books they are allowed to read to students. Any book outside of that list has to be submitted for review to a committee, questions answered, and then approved or not based on its merit. This seems like a very Stepford way of introducing kids to books. I've heard from teachers who enjoy reading to their students, chapter by chapter, new books, classics, funny books, engaging books, that gets kids excited about reading. And these typically are not found on the list of 20 approved books. Those books are dissected, analyzed, and taught in class. Those are for work. A scenario played out in my head. Two teachers talking, one from our district, the other not. Hey, Sarah, have you read the Sideways Stories from Wayside School to your class? My kids were just tickled by it. Is it on the list? No, list? What list? If it's not on the list, we can't read it. So what have you read to your kids lately? Oh, we don't actually read books to students. We tell them about books, give a synopsis, and then if they want to read it, they can pick it from our class library that's already been censored for us. And that brings me to my next concern. At the elementary level, these books, and there's a stack, and I don't know that I can actually show them, but they're pretty awesome. This one kind of goes to what they were just talking about. A lot of families. These books have been pulled from classrooms, and I think you might recognize that most of these books include or maybe even mention families in the LGBTQ community, or they mention the lived experience of Black people in history in our country, and one covers an immigrant story of a family from Cuba. I'm pretty sure the Office of Civil Rights at the Department of Education believes this is a problem in Forsyth County Schools, that is a problem Forsyth County Schools has that needs to be addressed. I don't think these censorship actions are what they had in mind. If you guys want to see these, I have them.